So today I decided, let's not wait for the holiday. We should have turkey. Okay.
So,
What's next? Okay. Haha.
the dessert?
No, Brussels sprouts first.
Oh,
You
that's
have to have
right.
your
I
vegetable.
forgot.
These are good. You can't get all the meat off of from the thigh, so somebody will chomp on them, and usually it's me. Hi, welcome to Cooking for All Seasons. I'm Judy Keys, and here today we have Jean, my assistant. She's usually the hand that you see, but this time we got the full thing, the full body.
Yes.
So, Jean, it's that time of the year when everybody's talking about, hopefully, that we can get some rain and make it a little bit cooler outside. And it seems like as soon as October comes around, people's taste buds begin to change. They're looking forward to, soups and chilies and heavier foods, don't you think?
Yeah, and the root vegetables. And so I thought, turkey. I immediately think of turkey. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. Turkey and crab, because the Dungeness come out into season. In November, right?
Yeah, the R months. I don't know if you guys know that. It's the R months. But so I was in the grocery store one day and there were some turkey parts. I thought, well, why can't I just cook a turkey part? Mm-hmm. Instead of, I don't have to cook a whole turkey. Because there's, it's just me and my husband and my mom usually eating, and I don't want to cook a whole turkey. So I thought, yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm. Good idea.
So today, that's basically what we're going to do. You don't have to have turkey just at Thanksgiving. You can do turkey parts, and it tastes good. It's just, you kind of tired of everything barbecued.
Yeah. And you're not overwhelmed with a whole big turkey.
Yeah, you don't have this thing and having to feel like you have to invite all your neighbors over for dinner or something.
Leftovers.
Or you have leftovers for, the next 6 months. So, okay, so what are we going to make with it? I didn't want to do stuffing. I don't really want to do traditional, stuff that you do at Thanksgiving, because everybody has traditions that they make at Thanksgiving, and it's usually larger portions if you're having company. Well, I didn't want to do that. So today I decided, let's not wait for the holiday. And I said, okay, so we're gonna cook some turkey parts. You guys want to see these? We're gonna cook the beautiful turkey parts. And then we put all the herbs and stuff in there. And then we're going to make some mashed potatoes and yams. I thought that would be good. Instead of doing yams, I want to do sugared yams and then mashed potatoes. So I put them together. Kind of tastes good. Still just a little different.
I'll have to see that.
And we're going to do some pan-roasted Brussels sprouts. You can see
the way they come.
And we'll talk about it later, but people don't really kind of know where they come from, or not so much where they come from, but how they grow. And so then we're going to also do some oven roasted butternut squash with apples and onions. Oh. It's just a little different, tastes good. And then we're going to do a deconstructed apple pie dessert, of which I had to explain what deconstructed meant to my producer. He now understands what that means. So let's get busy, because we got a lot of stuff to cook, and I know everybody is waiting to eat dinner, and we want to get it done. So we'll talk to you in a few seconds. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and now what we're going to do is let's season up the turkey. I'll do that. Watch me what I'm doing, and then you kind of get the idea that this is not quite a huge turkey, where you have to do a lot of stuff, butter it, brine it, do whatever, of which you really could do to the pieces. But this time we're just going to make it easy on ourselves because remember, this is a sort of an everyday type of turkey dinner. So we're going to put a little bit of seasoning salt. And then, I mean, I don't use a lot. I just a little because it does have some of the flavors that would, you know, kind of enhance the turkey flavor. I'm going to put a little ground pepper. Now I know if you don't like, you know, if you don't like ground pepper, don't put it on. But everybody has their own taste, and if you know, if there's some sort of seasoning that you're used to using, then go ahead and use it. This is just, now, this is one of the seasonings that I grew up using. I didn't use it obviously when I was a kid, but I always remember the box because it has a turkey on it. And basically this has sage in it. I always remember that
Right.
it has that. But just be really careful
It
if
does
you're
look
using,
like sage.
because it really does. And okay, so this is a trick. If you're gonna put seasoning or anything on anything, if you, instead of putting it down like this, you put it up higher, it gives a more even disperse of the you know, whatever the herb is or the seasoning that you're using. Otherwise, you're dropping big globs of the same thing. And then we're just going to add, a can of chicken stock. I know it's not chicken. It's turkey, but chicken stock will be okay. I don't know. I mean, you could do a lot of things with this. You could actually add this. You could add some white wine, which would be really good. You know, if you have a bottle of white wine or something that you want to use, this is a great place for it. Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven, 425. Should take about an hour, 15, hour and a half. Yes, check it the same way you would a chicken. It has to be 160 degrees at least.
Okay.
So if I'm going to do this, will you turn the stove on?
Sure.
For under the potatoes and the yams, and we'll get this in. Looks really pretty. I thought it looked lovely. Okay. All right. Okay, we're done. We're done with this. Let's put this over here. And the next thing we're going to do, and this can be a little challenging. We have a couple apples.
This is for, what are we making with this?
This is the roasted butternut squash.
Okay.
Let's see, we don't have those got in there. Roasted butternut squash with onions and apples.
Oh, okay.
Any kind of apples you like.
Like a casserole? Is that what this is going to be?
No, we're going to it's going to roast.
on this
it's
pan.
going to roast on on a cookie sheet with sides.
Oh, okay.
And so we've got the butternut squash. This is the oldest peeler on earth.
Yes, it looks it.
It is the
But probably
best
works better.
peeler on earth. And you can't buy this. I don't think you could buy this anymore.
Probably not.
But I think I've had this for nothing less than 35 years. That's old. Really, that's just about as old as I am. No, not really. Okay, so I know this is difficult. Peeling butternut squash is probably one of the most, it is a very difficult piece to peel, but I found over the years that the freshest that the butternut squash is, the easier it is to peel because there's more moisture in the skin. Otherwise, when you have it for like months, and it dries out, and it becomes the shell becomes much harder.
Okay.
So that kind of helps. Also, having the best peeler in the world helps.
Or
Or
buying it already cut up, like I
buying
do.
it already cut up.
Because that really works well.
So see, how's that?
Wow.
See the difference? So we're going to peel this, hopefully. Hopefully it was a really pretty new one. Okay, now you're all laughing
That
at
one
me, I
cutting
know.
up, buying it cut up already is looking better and better and better.
But I'm not sure if did they taste good?
Sure they do.
Yeah?
Yeah. They have to replace those packages really often.
Well, I see it and I'm tempted. You know, I have to replace this. I see it and I'm tempted, but I just think that this is so much fun to do, you know. But like I said, you can imagine if this was sitting, and I've done it. I've bought it and then let it sit for, a long time.
Oh.
You know.
You mean a whole one?
Yeah, a whole one. I'm talking about like a month or more, and then go, oh, I need to cook that. You know, it's just like one of those.
Now, can you cook this without peeling it first? Is that not a good idea? Can you?
I don't know.
So what you're going to do is you're going to cut it in small pieces, and you're going to boil it to break it. Well,
we're going to roast it
for today.
Yeah, you could boil it, sure.
But you could boil.
Well, because a lot of people make butternut squash soup with this.
Oh, that's right.
So you cook it maybe first. You might want to roast it first if you're going to make soup with it. You know,
that might even make it taste more.
Yeah, and
fuller.
then you're going to add it to you're going to add maybe cream or half and half, and squish it around. No, I don't know how to explain.
Until it softens, and then you can smash it.
Yeah, but it will be It will be soft already if you roast it first, and then add it to. Some liquid chicken stock. You don't have to put maybe half chicken stock and half heavy cream or something, just to get that really nice texture. And then you're going to put in some. I probably would put in some sage leaves and and some bay. You know, just depends. And then salt and pepper, and that's how you would probably make butternut squash soup. There's all different ways. I've made it with apples, and just like basically what we're doing today: onions, apples,
and all these chunks
these chunks, and then you would put it in a food processor.
Oh, okay.
So you have to just be really careful, because if you do that when it's hot, it'll expand, and if you put it in like a
yes, I went there once. It was all over me, the kitchen, the floor, everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't do something hot in it.
Yeah, well, you have to make sure that if you're doing it like in a blender, that you allow for it to the steam coming off. So you just do a little at a time.
Live and learn,
yeah. Yeah. So anyway, it's not perfect, but it will do. So let me get a knife. A large knife, and see how much easier it cuts. That
is easier than I thought.
Don't you notice? Yeah, it does. It does make a difference when it's fresh.
Fresher, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put this.
You want to go in here?
Yeah, in the garbage, and then I'll just show you what I'm gonna cut this. Remember, we're in a kitchen, an everyday kitchen. So, you see our movements are not all scripted every second. So as you can tell. So, that's okay. Hold on. I got it. It's fine. Okay. So we have a piece. This is just a disc. Down at the bottom here, it's a bowl. And it contains the seeds.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes I don't use all of it, and I'll just keep this part and use it for something else. Because you want to buy a butternut squash that has a longer neck.
Oh, okay.
Because you get more solid pieces, otherwise you're down here at the
Okay.
bowl. So you don't want one that's got a great big bowl and a little tiny neck.
Oh, good to know.
So we're just gonna cut this up. So you're gonna, this is gonna be served, you know, as,
Well, you're mashing these, right?
no,
Oh,
no,
oh.
we're not gonna mash them. We're just gonna roast them. And because it's gonna be served with onion that's roasted and apples and olive oil. So we're gonna put it, I just put this on here to keep that from, I think that when you're roasting something, I mean, it gets kind of sticky because the sugars. Get yourself some parchment paper if you can.
It is so much nicer to use parchment paper than spray Pam or
Right,
those sprays.
right.
Those mess up your pans, and this is so much
Yeah.
better and inexpensive and just easier.
So I'm gonna go ahead. Let's go ahead and. This is a huge onion,
That is big.
but the difference is in the summertime, we get bigger onions. You know, you get all the sweet ones and everything. This one isn't necessarily a sweet onion, but it's not very pungent.
Oh, it
And I
isn't.
think the larger the onions, the
stronger it is.
The least strong. It's not as strong.
Okay.
So if you can use the larger onion or an oh so sweet or something. If you can't, just be careful that if you use one of the yellow onions that are real tight, it's going to be really strong.
Oh.
So try getting a large onion or one that defines itself as a sweet onion. Like
Oh, okay.
there's the ones that they eat like apples. I can't.
All of a sudden, went right out of my
I know, it
mind.
went right out of my head. But anyway, we'll think. So all I'm going to do is cut this.
In fairly large chunks.
Yeah, and you're just going to. So that's all I would do. Now, depending on how much of the butternut squash you're going to put in, you would put you can put as much onion as you want because when this roasts, it won't be as strong. So, and then, yeah, you don't even have to. Oh no, don't fail me after 35 years. You wouldn't dare, would you? No, it's doing good. So for apples, Granny Smith, whatever you have in the house, the Granny Smith is a little bit more tart, and it's fine because you would be surprised how sweet things are when they're just roasted, you know. But so I just want to show you. And I'll move this over. Same thing goes with the apple. You want to, these are pieces that you're going to eat. So I would probably just do something like this, because when it roasts, it'll shrink the moisture. So you don't want it too small. You want kind of your pieces to sort of, mimic your butternut squash. So there, that's what I would do. And then we'll be right back, and I'll finish putting the butternut squash in here, and then I'll show you how we're going to dress it for the oven.
Good.
Okay? Thank you. Okay, we're back. Okay, so see now, look at how pretty it looks. You know, you could do like a whole lot of things with this. You could add some fennel. You could add some herbs to it.
With the fennel, or you're not talking about the little fine leaves, but
No, I'm talking, cutting the
The
fennel bulb up and
Okay.
putting in. You could add some other, herbs to it.
excuse me.
You okay? Oh, okay. We got turning down the potatoes.
Whoops. There we go.
Okay. Okie dokie. Really, you can. This is sort of like a canvas. These flavors, you can put in some sage leaves. Really, any kind of I don't know, herb that you particularly care for. Also, once it's baked or once it's roasted, because it really actually gets roasted, you could actually make a maple and
A drizzle over
a drizzle over
Oh.
it. Like you could make a let's see, maple being something like some really good maple syrup and pecans would be
Oh,
really
okay.
good. So if you were looking for something sweet, we put herbs in the turkey, and I don't want to put. I just like it like this. I think once you taste it, the apple sort of adds a lot to it. But
Because on your plate, you don't want them fighting each
yeah,
other
you
either.
have too much. I mean, and I think that sometimes people do that, without realizing, hey, it's all going on the same plate. So the idea is to maybe have one thing like the turkey, maybe a little bit more seasoned with the herbs and stuff, and this a little plainer, but able to, but has the taste.
its own
Taste.
flavors.
And I think if you're going to do that, I think you could actually do a maple and pecan sauce. That wouldn't take away. But just be careful about. Everybody talks about herbs and putting herbs on everything. You kind of can't taste anything because herbs can get really strong and overshadow the actual flavor and not complement the dish or the plate that you're going to eat. So we just kind of did a little bit of salt and pepper, some olive oil. And because then I'm going to have to use do we have, let's make sure. Whoop. You don't want to, not too much pepper because pepper can be really strong. And there's all different kinds of peppers, and that's really kind of a fun thing to do, is go to a shop that sells fine herbs and look and get some different kind of peppers, because I don't think everybody thinks that pepper is just basic. It's not. I have some smoked pepper
Oh, wow.
that I get that tastes really good, like on steaks and in rubs. So I think that looks pretty good. And then we're going to do some salt, and remember we're going to salt from high up here, and it'll put it on a little bit more evenly.
Makes sense.
And this is a lot of food on it. I mean, there's quite a bit. So let's actually use this. Actually, normally I would use my hands, but you could just sort of do this with your hands and sort of just mix it around, but I'll be ladylike and
Whatever works.
yeah, you just kind of you just want it to get mixed up and have most of the, as much as you can, as evenly as you can, to make sure that the pieces get covered with the olive oil, because you don't want it to. I mean, we're not talking about floating in olive oil. We're just talking about,
having it somewhat cover most of it, but not be, floating. You don't want it floating. So I think that's looking good. So this is going to actually, it bakes at a high temperature of 400. Oops, get back in. And we can't do that right now because the oven has the turkey in it. So we're going to put this aside. And as soon as the turkey is done, we're going to stick this in. And of course, when it roasts at a high temperature, you wait and see. It tastes really good too. Yeah. And it doesn't take that long. So, okay, there she is.
Move it over here.
All right. Okay, so our potatoes are boiling, and we need to make some. I'm gonna move this over here so I don't knock it over. Because my husband asked me why I didn't get the olive oil in the plastic container, because things do drop every once in a while.
Yes.
So I'm hoping I won't drop that. So we have a lot of potatoes. So the question is, how do you know how many potatoes to make?
You mean for your crowd?
For a crowd. So what you do is you basically make a potato for each person. And that's how you calculate how many potatoes you should use to make mashed potatoes.
To make mashed potatoes, right.
To make mashed potatoes. Okay. However, I'm not talking about those baked potatoes that are like this.
Yeah.
People do get those, especially around this time of year. They're making actually really in the summertime too, but they're making those big, huge stuffed potatoes. And that's too, if you're going to do that, you're going to figure at least two people to every potato. But if you're talking about an average size baked potato, you maybe think one for each person. And then if you think, well, I'll make one.
A little bit more.
One for the table.
Okay.
Now,
do you always use russet for mashed potatoes?
You could use any kind of potato. But, if you're going to use red potatoes, usually you do red potatoes with the skin on and you smash them. Mm-hmm. And people use all kinds of potatoes. Fingerlings.
Yep, I've done
Now, if you do fingerlings, obviously you can eat more than one. They're very good. Actually, you can't say one potato for each person because then that's not enough. So you figure maybe 3 or 4, so you kind of think, well, that would make a potato about this big. And then you make some for the table, so to speak. But today we have, and what did I cook? I cooked, I think I cooked 6, there's like 6 of us. So I cooked 6 white russets and I cooked 4 yams. So there'll be plenty. But every time I make this, it's kind of like I just have to guess a little bit, because sometimes the yams I notice aren't as flavorful. They are certain times of the year they're more flavorful. Okay. I don't know why. I mean, things grow depending on where they're grown. But and we're going to use milk. But the idea is that maybe it's good to have some warm milk and butter and a little bit of cream, maybe. I think it's kind of hard to say exactly how much milk and cream and butter you're going to use to the potato. I think you have to kind of guess. Obviously, don't make tons of it, but a couple, a cup or 2, I would think would be enough. But I think, and then we're gonna put some heavy cream in here. I happen to have it. Because usually when I make potatoes, I will add sour cream. A little bit of sour cream to the whipped potatoes, and I like that. But today, because we're doing yams, I added cream. How much butter do you put in? Well, you figure
it's all a guess.
Because you figure each person puts at least a tablespoon. which
Okay.
at least a tablespoon of butter in their potatoes. So if you're making whipped potatoes, then you would figure that you need, for 6 people, you need 6 tablespoons. And how many tablespoons are in a?
8.
Is there 8? Is that like I? See.
8.
So 8 sounds good.
Because you did add the
Because we added
Yams
the yams,
over
of
the
course.
potatoes.
So don't look. So that's going to plop there. I mean, that's a lot of potatoes. So,
Yeah.
and what are we going to do to the potatoes? We're going to rice them, which is something that most people don't do, but actually it makes really nice fluffy potatoes. And so
Good.
you have to put a little bit of salt and some pepper. And we're going to put this on the stove and let it just simmer a little bit to get the... Now, you could. I don't think I would do this because we're doing yams. This is where you could make garlic mashed potatoes. So what you would do is take the cloves of garlic, however many you want to put in, and put them in here and let it steep.
Without smashing the cloves.
But they
just
will
the whole
smash, because when you put them in, when you put this into the, after it's been cooking for a while, the cloves will actually soften.
yeah.
And then you put it into, well, you're whipping it, and you got garlic mashed potatoes.
And they're less strong that way, aren't they?
Yeah, it takes away that really strong flavor. I don't know. Some people really like. I don't know. Can you hear me? But some people really like that really heavy garlic flavor in mashed potatoes. But okay, so we got turkey in the oven. We got the apples and the butternut squash ready to go. We got the potatoes cooking. Let's see. Let us stop for a moment and take a look and see if the potatoes are done, and we'll be right back. Okay, now we're ricing the potatoes. This is a ricer. Now, here she's going to put some, and now watch. I'll try to do it up high so you can see. Can you see it? I hope so.
Just comes out like little worms.
Yeah, like little worms. The one thing is, and I will tell you, don't wait until the potatoes are cooled off to do this. I learned my lesson. One day I was making it, and I left the potatoes after I had, boiled them. I left them to, I don't know what I was doing, something else, and so the potatoes got up. And what happened is, when the potatoes cooled off so much, they formed a skin on them, and it was really difficult to rice the potatoes and the yams. So I would suggest that you drain your potatoes, but don't leave them too long. I know people say, well, your potatoes should be dried. They put them in the oven to dry them. They do all kinds of things. Well, that's true. You don't want, when you're cooking your potatoes, you don't want them waterlogged to the point where they're breaking apart in the,
But pouring them in the colander really drains.
Yeah,
pretty
it
well,
drains them. But you don't want to make potato water out of your mashed potatoes. Okay, now the goods. Let's put the.
Just in case it's hot.
Just in case.
Oh, and it's heavy.
Yeah. So we're going to pour some in, and this is our buttercream mixture. Okay. Yeah. Ooh.
It slipped.
That's okay. Leave it.
Oh.
That's okay. We'll mix this around and see how much more. Okay. You got it? Mm-hmm. That's kind of a hard one to. Okay.
Just so you don't slap it.
Yeah, I don't want to. It's hot, so.
And because guessing about how much liquid. That's why we don't want to pour it in all at one time.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll have
Soup,
potato yam soup. But if
which wasn't on the menu, but you know.
it could be. It could be. But the problem is that, well, I mean, if that happens, then what you probably want to do, maybe, is to I don't know. I think that's about all. You could dry it out, but it's kind of difficult. So, ooh, let's get you a spoon. And next one down. There you go. No, you try.
Oh,
And you tell me what you think.
it needs some salt, but it's good.
I don't want to over salt it. Can you taste the yams in it?
Yes, it's good.
Is it good? It's a little
I
different.
think I'll do that for Thanksgiving. I think I'll combine the two and serve
Okay.
it that way, and it'll be different having the kind of pinky orange potatoes.
You want to go ahead? Just. Yeah.
I don't want to.
More salt.
It's better, but maybe a little more.
Oh, because I mean, the idea is to not over salt things. But if you
want the
aren't
flavor to
supposed to
come out.
have salt in your diet, then you need to use a salt substitute. But other than that, you have to realize there's like six potatoes, 6 medium to large, not this large, but nice sized potatoes, and four yams. One was large.
4 discs of the yam, yeah.
No, 4 yams.
Oh, I was thinking of that.
Yeah, buttered.
I'm getting confused.
But yeah, so it's a lot of potatoes and stuff. So you want it to have flavor. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'll take the knife.
Yeah,
Oop,
go ahead.
too
You
much.
can taste it.
I don't know if I can.
Oh, I think it's probably good. And they can always salt a little on their plate if they want to.
A little tiny more, and that's it. Oop. Okay.
It really does help bring out flavor because the second time I could taste it even more.
Yeah. Otherwise, it doesn't.
It was too flat.
Okay.
without
So
the
we're gonna put it in a bowl.
Do you want me to hold it? No.
So pretty. I just thought
Especially
it was
with a dark bowl.
Yeah. You could make this for Halloween or something like that, Orange potatoes,
Those look good.
I think it would be really good with roasted chicken, ribs. I think it would, because,
It's good. You're getting all those vitamins. They are still potatoes.
yeah. And then you get the butter.
Well, there's that.
Plus, I use this salted butter, too. I did not use unsalted butter. If you used unsalted butter, then you were really going to start pouring in the salt. But I did also put a little bit of salt, not a whole lot, in the water when I was cooking it. Oh, I bet you can hear that scraping.
I bet you could too.
Sorry. Okay. So I said, I don't know, this just looks traditional. Put a couple of slices of butter, just because. Okay.
Good. One more thing done.
Okay. Done.
we're
Okay.
gonna
Now
check
let's
the
see
turkey.
what we're going to check the turkey. You want to go ahead and put it in there,
Oh,
and we'll check the turkey.
okay.
Okay, I do have a list. I know you guys can see this because we have a lot of things we're doing. I want to make sure I get everything done. Okay, let us take a look at the turkey and read its temperature. It's beautiful. It really is. Look at that. Can you see that? Great. So we're looking for 160. Okay.
So I'm going to go in on the turkey breast and let's get the temperature. Let's go. Make sure, you don't want to hit the bone. So we're talking about 135. Okay. Yeah. Well, we're almost there. Because the chicken thighs, I don't want to hit them, are good. So we'll give it about another 15 minutes or so, and we should have turkey. Okay.
So,
What's next? Okay. Haha.
the dessert.
No, Brussels sprouts first.
Oh,
You have
that's
to have
right.
your
I
vegetable.
forgot.
Okay, we're gonna get the Brussels sprouts ready. Show you how to take them off of the
Stock.
stalk, and then we're gonna put them on the stove and fry them up. It's gonna be good. We'll be right back. Okay, the stalk. This is what do you call it? This is not the stalk from Jack and the Bean.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Jack and the Beanstalk.
Look,
Yeah,
how
what's-
they, look how they grow. They grow like. In a,
Yeah, well, kind of twirled around, which would really be cool because if he'd have done it on this, he could have had little stepping stones.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean, right? See, see if you look at.
Yep.
He could have just like rock climbing, but he would have had someplace to put his feet. Okay, that's funny. All right. So this is how they grow, but they have big leaves, and I don't know if you can see them as they grow up, but that's what was attached to this. They have big leaves. They grow in areas, coastal areas where it gets hot and then it gets very cool. They like that. They belong to the cabbage family. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to pop a couple of these off. And then, let's see here.
Talk about fresh.
Oh, yeah, for sure. When you buy them in the market and they're already cut, you just have to be careful, because you have to really kind of trim them because you really want to make sure they're fresh. And then you just pull the dry leaves off, Even on this, you're still getting some, but they're really cute. They look like a little cabbagey.
They're pretty cute.
They're pretty cute. So, and you do have to wash them. Really get that off of there. But yeah, I'll never forget.
So you cut a lot of that, some of that stem off.
Yeah, you
so
don't
it's
want the
fairly
stem
flat.
on there.
Yeah.
Usually when a lot of times when you get them in the market, they have more of a stem and they're kind of brown.
Yeah.
You want to cut that off. So if you just want to just run those under the water, you just want to make sure. Obviously, you can't get everything. Can you see me? I'm cutting these in half. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put them in a pan. We're going to put them cut side down in a frying pan that has some butter, and some olive oil, and then you're going to salt and pepper them, and then we're going to let them, you're going to let them actually brown.
Okay. So you don't put too much of the salt or the oil.
Yeah, I mean, we aren't like deep frying them, but we're making them taste really, sauteing them really good.
Good.
So, okay, do you want me to, can I just go over here now? Is that okay? Okay, so this is the pan that we're going to use. Let's get some butter in it. Okay, now it's only a couple of tablespoons, but I know it looks like a lot.
Well, you're going to make a lot more.
But we're going to make a lot more, but I want to just show you just how we're going to prepare the pan here. And then we'll come right back, and then we're going to sprinkle a little olive oil in it.
Now, why are you mixing the two?
Well, because butter burns at a lower temperature than olive oil, so the olive oil kind of will help to not toast the butter out as quickly, but you'll still get that flavor. You know, there's just no way that you can substitute the taste of butter. Butter is butter. It has a real distinctive flavor to it. And in certain dishes, you know, putting margarine in and something's just not going to happen. If you don't want to put this, and then people put bacon grease in it, or they fry bacon and put it, which is really good. So anyway, we'll be right back, and you'll see, we'll fill the pan up with all the beautiful little Brussels sprouts. See, aren't they cute? We'll be right back. Okay. What we did was we took we popped them off the stalk, which was easily, I thought, you know, we just kind of went, you know.
Yeah, you don't need a knife after all.
No, you don't need a knife. And they'll pop off. We trimmed them and we sliced them in half. And now we've put them face down, you know, the cut side down, not face down, but cut side down. I said their little faces were cute. And now look you can see they're all bubbling in the butter and the olive oil. The only thing I'm going to add is a little bit of salt, you know, not too much. We don't need to go too far. And let's see, can you hand me one of the, what did I do? I put one of the pepper mills. You know, let's see if we can get one. So we want to get them browned. And I think that depending on, and I'm noticing depending on how fresh they are, you might need to add a little bit of like chicken stock or a little bit of water once they get browned to let them make sure that they're cooked tender, and sort of put a top over it, let it steam a little bit, you know, because it is a cabbage, and so you can see by the fact that I'm sort of touching it, it's not tender yet. And I don't think you want to eat Brussels sprouts not cooked all the way through. They need to be at least tender. I don't know, you don't want them to be mushed, but you do want them to be at least fork tender, I should say. If you watch these, I'm going to take a look at the turkey right now and see what did I do with the thermometer. I know it was here.
You put it right there.
Oops. It was too close. So let's take a look. I think it looks like it's done to me. But, you know, you don't want to... How are those doing? Okay. We have turkey. So I'm going to take the turkey out. How those... They're
They're coming along.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking the turkey out. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of my racks up higher. And I'm going to turn the temperature up to 400, because now we're going to put in the squash. Okay? So, what do you think?
Now, there's a couple that feel a lot more tender than the others, so I can tell what I know what you're talking about.
So
you can feel the tenderness.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Okay, we're putting the squashes in and the apples. Turned it up to 400. Okay, how are we doing here?
Good. A few on this side aren't as done, but
ooh, see?
Yeah.
They get that nice color. Okay, I think
It'll cook a little while they're
I'm
pans
gonna,
off.
yeah, the pan's off. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of water and cover. I think I can,
Oh, with a cover?
I,
Not quite big enough.
not quite, but just enough to get it steamed a little bit. I'm gonna add some hot water, just a little bit. And the steam of the hot water will finish cooking them.
After you get them nice and brown, then you would do
Yeah,
that.
then you would do that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanted to, you could put a little chicken stock. You know, I mean, if you had,
Yeah,
but
left
if you
over.
had it open, I don't have a can open right now. So it's just going to sit in there. In a few minutes, we're going to take them out, and we're going to put some balsamic glaze over them. Yum. Okay, let's see. I think that we need to now set up. We're going to take the turkey out of the pan and get ready to make the gravy. Because I know, even though it's not Thanksgiving dinner, we still have to have gravy. You know, everybody's nodding yes. Okay, we'll be right back. We're back. Yum.
Yum.
Yum. Okay, the one thing that we haven't done was, I hope, can you see these? We're just gonna put a little bit of some balsamic glaze over them. And they're warm, so that'll melt into them. You don't want too much because we don't want them swimming in there. So,
Just a little taste.
okay, so what is this? This is our potatoes and yams, sweet potatoes. Potatoes and sweet potatoes. Let's get that right, because yams
Yeah.
are usually white, and they're much,
Oh, yeah.
or sweet potatoes. Okay, well, we'll get back to you on that one. Right here, this is the butternut squash, the apples, and the onions. And this is some cranberry, I made some cranberry sauce, and I put some orange marmalade in them.
Okay, good.
Just for something different. Because for me, I have to have cranberry sauce with my turkey. It's just a,
It just
a thing.
You gotta have that.
Well, here's our turkey. Look at it. It's all cut up. Isn't it beautiful? And this is, I mean, these are good. You can't get all the meat off of from the thigh, so somebody will chomp on them, and usually it's me. But anyway, and here's our gravy. But the one thing we haven't done yet, is done the deconstructed apple pie.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see, what else was I supposed to, okay, anything else was I supposed to talk about? No, I
Just
think
how
so.
you did that.
Okay. This is a pastry. This is just like make your
Pie crust.
your pie crust pastry. And since I'm not a real baker, it's a little difficult, but I did it. This is a butter crust, so it has a lot of butter in it. But all I did was make it, and then I rolled it out, and then I just used a cutter, like a biscuit cutter, and then I just kept, putting it together, because the idea is that you want to use all that.
Right.
So then I just baked it in the oven at like 400 for like 12 or 13 minutes. But first, before I put it in the oven, I coated it with just sugar and a little bit of cinnamon. So we're going to put one on the bottom, and then we're going to put a scoop. I could have opened it. Oop, just got my finger in it, but we're going to put a scoop of vanilla ice cream on that. And then we're going to put, now, these are the apples. These are canned apples. As you can see, these are canned apples that I added. To every can, I added a can of apple cider.
Oh, okay.
And then I put some Cavalos, which is some apple brandy, and some cinnamon. You don't have to put the brandy in if you don't want to. You can put any kind of brandy in it.
Are these the can of apple pie?
It's a can of apple pie.
apples.
And technically, because it's apple pie, the apples themselves are not really cooked to a really soft stage. So you could just use it right out of the can and heat it up and put some cinnamon in it. But you need to, I think you need to put that apple cider in there to get more juice because they don't have a, well, it depends. It's on which one you use. The one I used was just jammed with apples, and there was very little like sauce, whatever they call it. I don't know, sauce or something. So that's what I got. I thought, oh gee, we needed more sauce because we want it.
Yeah.
So that's when I did that. So then we're gonna put a few of these over this. Okay, and then we're gonna put
Of course, that could be enough right there.
a top, and then I made some homemade whipped cream with some cinnamon and nutmeg and some apple brandy, and that goes on top. Now, if you don't make your own pastry, of course you can use, you know, the roll-up pastry, which is what I normally use. You buy the dough already made, and just it's in a circle, but you just kind of go around. And the idea is that it's deconstructed. You want to taste it?
Oh, sure. Now, let's see, how do I cut through this?
I know it's kind of, but see the
but-
cut.
oh, it
just
does cut
it just
easy.
it
I want some whipped cream.
it.
Oh, it's good.
It's good. What do you think?
It's really good. I could eat this.
You could eat this.
I could eat this.
You could eat this.
In fact, I'll eat some more.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Jean for being here with me and for liking that. I hope that I'm glad you liked that because it's kind of a test thing. My family liked it, but they probably wouldn't say no to any kind of dessert I made since I don't make a lot of desserts. But thank you for being here, and thank you guys for watching. This is Cooking for All Seasons. My name is Judy Keys, and you could always, send me an email. cookingforallseasons@yahoo.com. Also, I want to thank my producers and the cameraman for helping me along with this endeavor of creating these cooking shows, of which I've probably been cooking and creating these shows for going on 10 years.
Wow.
So we've eaten a lot. We've tried a lot. Some we did good, some we didn't do so good, but it's okay. I hope you all enjoy doing this. This is an everyday meal. Mm-hmm. Okay? Thank you for being with us. Bye.
3, 5, 4.
Which camera do I look at?
Bob. Always Bob.
Always Bob. 5, 4, 3.
Did you check to make sure that we're getting sound recorded?
Yeah, they can hear us.
I did already. I got you saying stupid stuff.
Okay, I just thought I would say that. You can cut that.
No, that's staying.
Oh. And then we're going to do a deconstructed apple pie dessert, of which I had to explain what deconstructed meant to my producer. He now understands what that means. We'll be right back. Don't cut that part about you not.
Rolling?
Roll it. No, I didn't say that. You already did it now.
No wonder he only has 41 minutes left.
Yeah.
I'm serious. There better be sound on this.
I'm sorry, but
Is that okay?
it was good.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 10 years.
No, don't share it, Gene. Go ahead. You guys do that.
She said it was mine.
I know, I was thinking the other
I have to keep making sure that I
It's
liked it.
almost 10.